So my project is Black History Begins in Africa. So it's basically the first standard of the whole lecture, which is the beginning of Black history. And so before you know anything about like the civil rights movement and all the rest of Black history in America, you want to start with Africa first. So a long time ago, there were a lot of different civilizations in Africa, very strong, powerful ones that are really civilized. So there was Ghana, which you probably know, is a majority source of slaves. So where most of the slaves came from this side of Africa. It was one of the first West African empires. And actually the Ghana Empire fell to the Mali Empire afterwards. And this is the first Muslim empire. And so this is a Muslim empire ran by Mansa Musa. And he was a legend because he took gold and he basically gave it out to people across Africa all the way to Mecca. Because he was Muslim, and Mecca is, it's like Holy Land for Muslims, so it's his Hajj. So he would go around and he gave gold to people along the way to like spread and say, this is where I live and you should come with me. So he went to Mecca, spread out gold, and it made him a legend. But when he came back to Mali, they had overthrown it. So when he came back, everyone was, in shambles because the Songhai Empire took over Mali. So from Ghana to Mali to Songhai. And he is a legend because if you ever heard the phrase of all the way from Timbuktu, he lived in Timbuktu. And nobody knew where he was from. So it was like he's all the way from Timbuktu. Like you say that because no one knew where that was. But he's really important. He ties into slavery really hard. But
Who, Mecca?
Mansa Musa. Yeah, but I'll explain in a minute. Next is Egypt. Egypt was main discoveries, mathematics, tools, surgery, astrology, hygiene. All of that was made in Egypt. So it's one of the smartest people in Africa. U.S. Census, which is when they count people and put them in races. The most recent one said North Africa was put underneath white people. But outside it's called Nubia because Nubia means gold. Ethiopia means burnt skin because they were one of the darkest people in Africa. And they were the only nation not conquered and civilized by European civilization, colonizers. And they were Jewish and Christian, and they were ruled by Haile Selassie, which is a Rastafarian. And Haile Selassie, he got a lot of followers because, how to say that I don't remember the name of who it was, but it was like past. It's like he was with the Queen of Sheba, and like he is like a descendant of them. And so he kind of used that like, I'm a prophet of him. We're related, so follow me. So yeah, that's Rastafarianism. The Moors is all the way at the top. The Moors is extremely smart related to God. So you can wash because you're being selfish because you're not thinking about God. And that's how they got sick.
He says if they didn't wash, that was being selfish.
No, they did wash and care, like think about themselves more than they did about Jesus Christ. Then it's because blasphemous and selfish. You should be only thinking about God. The only book you should be reading is the Bible. So no libraries, no schools. It was all about Christianity.
Oh, okay.
That's how they got sick, because none of them were clean.
I guess. Shoot.
So the Moors came and they just told them, wash up. They put them in the bath and they said, you're nasty. And they cleaned them up, and they helped them, and they built libraries and schools. And they were under rule for a really long time. Yes. And in Spain and Portugal, come here, it's okay. Yeah, no.
Wait.
Okay, and so Christopher Columbus had to get funded to go to the Indies through Spain for Ferdinand and Isabella. And so, but before Ferdinand and Isabella, were even a thing, they were Spain and Portugal, and they had to marry to, gain power back to push out the Moorish people. And so it's kind of like the Spanish Inquisition, because they killed a lot of people that were Moors, which was if you were black or if you were Muslim, they killed a lot of those people because they wanted the Moors out because they didn't want to be ruled by African people anymore. It was considered like, it was considered weak. Like they were only people conquered by African, so they were kind of like picked about it from the European countries. So that's why they wanted to push them out so bad. So Ferdinand and Isabella pushed them out, used all the money they had to push them out. And about hearing about gold, which is what Mansa Musa talked about, and that's what all like it kept going, legend about this man getting out gold, this land of gold. And so Henry the Navigator, he's a prince, he sent people down to Africa to get the gold and see what's down there and whatever that is. And then they tell them, and they bring people back, which is black people, and they take them back and take them to Prince Henry the Navigator. And he just studied them and studied the stuff, but he wanted gold. So he sent money to get people, but he didn't want to send money to take them back. So he used the black people that he took from the land and started using them. They didn't even know this part of Africa existed. There's a many of civilizations down here. It's just that the most important ones, the ones really known is up here. And then there's going way back to Homo habilis, which is saying that all humans were evolved in Africa. Which is true, because that's the first and like oldest skeleton was from down there. And so this man named Louis Leakey in 1959, he found.
Wait a minute, what you say? What is that?
Louis Leakey?
Oh, it was leaky. I thought you said something else.
Yeah, his name is Louis Leakey. He was a white man. He was a scientist, and he discovered a school down there that was a black woman. And he was saying that the oldest known human is down here in Africa. So it's maybe we evolved, but none of the scientists were racist, so they didn't want to believe Africans were. There's this conspiracy theories, like it's kind of not really sure, it's a mystery. But over in Mexico, central Mexico, there's these big heads, they're called Olmec heads, and they're shaped like African people. But they dug up skeletons, and none of the skeletons were of people that look like that. But many people in Mexico said that these gods came to them and was nice and was helping them out, and that's why they took the heads off. That's where they had the inspiration for the heads from. But none of the people that like that are. So it's like, how did they make a boat and go over there before European people did? So they kind of say it's impossible. But it's believed that somehow very smart Africans made some type of boat and went to Mexico and then came back successfully, without dying in Mexico. So that's that.
You said it was, what was the,
Their name is called Kush and Kushites.
That's Libya.
no, the, like you said it was the Christianity, and who else was over there?
Yeah, that's Nubia.
Nubia.
Oh, that was Nubia.
Nubia is where it's called Kush and Kushites. I don't know if that's where weed was. It's just, no, that's just where they call themselves as Kush and Kushites. Before they were called Nubia. Pretty much.
This is Bernicia and Kayla. They both know the information already that I taught them before. So what did you guys find the most interesting about my topic?
Well, what was most interesting was that I knew a lot of the stories, but I didn't know it in such detail. So being that there was more to the story was, interesting.
Okay, what about you, Bernicia?
I didn't know about the Moors. I just didn't know who the people were. I just knew about black people teaching white people how to clean themselves and curing the bubonic plague. And I didn't know about Mansa Musa. And that was very interesting. But it felt good to hear the information and shedding light, because it's stuff that I've never heard of, and we always been taught history from elementary school all the way up to all the way up to high school. And it's funny how our history is never taught in these classes.
So do you think it's important? This should be a topic that should be taught in schools, in
Yes, because it made a majority of the history that's part of these schools' curriculum today. So how can you not talk about bubonic plague without talking about the Moors? How can you not talk about slavery without talking about Ethiopia not being conquered?
How can you teach slavery and not tell the origin of it? How it originated, because of the story you told me. I can't say it word for word, but I know it. I know it. But yeah, how can you teach so much stuff without having all of the facts?
Right. And
Okay.
eventually, it's like you only telling like parts of the story, and you have these different parts that makes it like you have missing holes, and you refuse to tell people about it. But then again, it also is like gonna leave people, especially like people of color, black people, more like mainly, they're gonna want they want to know about it, so they're gonna find out anyway. But at the same time, it's sad that our culture and our history is always hidden to suppress us, and you know it's very unfortunate. But I feel like now with the technology we have now and the power that we taking back for ourselves, and that we finally realizing that we have this power, we can finally learn this information and understand it and be able to share it with the next generations and the generations like before us and the generations now and the generations after us, and we can keep the legacy going.
Right, because these history stories will become bedtime stories to my offspring.
Yeah, she gonna tell them so much.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so does this topic make you more interested in African American studies?
Yes, I
Yes.
want to major/minor in my African American studies, but hey, that's just me.
Okay. Well,
Same.
thank you.
Thank you for teaching me about my history.